Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blood and Popcorn. I am TJ Rotell, and with me, as always, in this lovely start of our holidays of horror, the Demogorgon, Denise Pantoja, and the odd movie master himself, Mr. Glenn Akers. Happy Blood and Popcorn, everybody. How are we doing tonight?
So I know you're like, hey, we're going live, but I put Skittles in my mouth, so.
That you did, and you also shifted
caught.
position as well.
How dare you?
What's the point of tech rehearsals, everybody? How are we doing on this lovely Wednesday evening? Welcome to Blood and Popcorn. Welcome to night one of our now elongated holidays of horror. We started doing these back in the day just for the December holiday season, and we've now since expanded. Since holiday horror movies have become quite popular, and we don't want to shy away from them. So we have a hell of a lineup this year. And we're kicking things off with 2019's Into the Dark, which is technically a TV series from Hulu that goes by the name of Pilgrim. Now, Pilgrim is an interesting movie. I'm going to fix this hair up here. I was saying earlier, I didn't, and now I'm trying to do it like it's a mirror, but there's no mirror. Pilgrim's an interesting one. It is a Thanksgiving-themed horror movie.
Which we didn't have enough of.
Which we, really typically we would really focus on Thanksgiving, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, let alone Thanksgiving horror movies, of which, you don't see very often. So I'm glad we're getting to do one of these. Glenn, I think you might have recommended this one to us when we were going through what we want to do for the season. But this one,
I only did as in I hadn't seen it before and it was on my list.
Yeah, I mean this one's been on my list for a while. Every year it rolls around, and there's just we always try to do different movies and different things, and because we each of us have a list of, God, I don't even know, probably close to the triple digits of shit we want to talk about on this show. But Holidays of Horror is just a really fun time to really focus up on holiday themed horror, and this one has been on my list for a while now. And it's a fun one. Listen, we'll get into it, but top of the number, this was just a really silly, fun little kind of Pilgrim slasher movie. It had you know what it reminded me of? Like it had tones of 2001 Maniacs. Like it had that, like a little bit of that tone to it.
Okay.
Okay.
If you've ever seen that. But yeah, this was a fun one. What did you guys? What were your kind of first impressions? Like this. We'll run you through it real quick. This is basically there's a character named Cody. Her mom leaves when she's young, and her dad, Kara Smith, is kind of a douche.
I love him though.
Great actor. I'm sure he's a sweet guy. Character, not a great dude. He gets in there, and he remarries. They have this new family now. And it's Cody and her dad Shane, his wife Anna, and Tate, the little brother who was part of this new little mixed family here. And there's some dysfunction going on amongst the clan of the actually they don't have last names in IMDb, which is funny. This family of theirs, and and basically the daughter Cody makes a wish on the wishbone that her mother's Thanksgiving blows up in her face because her mother's planned this whole reenactment thing with historical reenactors are going to come and teach us all about how Thanksgiving really was from the white man's perspective.
Yeah.
So right away you kind of get this idea that, things are going to be very fluffy and friendly towards what had been for years taught in schools as Thanksgiving. Not really, touching on what really went on. But anyway, I digress. These two pilgrims show up. You've got it was Ethan and Patience show up, and they're all in. They're all into this thing. They're dressed to the nines in their pilgrimy best, and shit instantly gets creepy. Shit instantly gets weird, and blood starts to flow, and the turkey gets stuffed, and we find ourselves here on Wednesday night, Blood and Popcorn, talking about just how things unfolded. So now that everyone knows the premise, what were your guys' initial thoughts about Pilgrim?
It was a little slow moving at first.
Yeah.
There were some interesting choices with both sound and framing that I thought, I mean, they were choices, right? They made choices, and I
Yeah.
thought that maybe they were leading us somewhere, but I don't think that was the case in the end. They were just choices.
That or it was the movie was shot so horrifically that in post they were like, we have to add this like motion blur and this
Yeah.
shake to the camera to make it
And then this,
feel
like, really weird, very muffly, there were muffled moments of sound, and I thought maybe that related to, like, I and I didn't even realize the mom left. I was like, "Did she commit and I like, trigger warning, did she commit suicide? Did she leave?" I couldn't, in the beginning when you're shown, like, certain scenes, you're supposed to be able to, like, recall and whatnot. It was so disjointed for me that I wasn't able to really recall even when we went back, and then she was, like, remembering it at the table later when, the bad guy's pulling her out of her memory. It didn't seem to connect in any way to what was going on, except for the fact that these people are supposed to learn a lesson, and I
Yeah.
don't know, it was fun for what it was. There were some fun moments, but as far as, like, connecting the dots and making it, like, make sense or have a message, not that it has to have a message, but it was very heavy-handed with, okay, this is the message that the antagonist is trying to,
Mhm.
send out. It still was a little, like, okay in the end for me, as far as maybe it's me, maybe I just didn't understand
It's you.
how
You're
it
the problem.
connected.
It's you.
Yeah.
What about you, Glenn? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty slow for like 50 minutes. Um,
And then it ramps up.
Like real
like, cause
fast.
like slow, but it's not in a bad way. Like it's not unwatchable slow. There's
Right.
bad slow and there's just slow. It's not bad slow. It, but I do remember like as soon as it like starts to ramp up, I clicked the button to like see when we were in this movie, and I was like, oh, it did take like a full 50 minutes to get here.
Wow.
Um, uh, Other than that, yeah, they did some interesting choices. Some I liked and some I didn't. Like I liked the split screens that they did. And now that you say that, TJ, I wonder if it wasn't an editing thing
Mm.
or if it was always planned. Either way, I kind of liked it. Um, Maybe because I like 70s movies and they do that a fair amount. Uh, I I liked that it was anamorphic, that it was like wide, but sometimes they had a lens on that was too distortedly wide. And like sometimes I thought
Yeah.
it worked, and then sometimes I was like, why did you use
Mhm.
this? It's just distracting.
Yeah, you saw a
Um,
little bit of that, and I think that was really interesting because I've been learning more and more. As a producer, we hire professionals like DPs and cam ops and people who know better than we do about how cameras and lenses work. But I really saw some of that lens distortion in this,
mhm.
where everyone got real skinny in the face, and then they normalized back out on a couple of those lenses. Specifically, I think there was a shot in the hallway where the Pilgrims had them cornered, and the mom like got real
Yeah.
skinny in the face, and I was like, oh, I see where they're what lenses they're talking about here. But yeah, I think that might be accurate, Glenn. I think we might have a situation here where they shot this movie because these types of movies, they're usually relatively low budget, which means the schedule is pretty truncated because
Yeah.
there's not no names in here like
Right.
Courtney Hengler, who played Anna the mom, and Kerr Smith. They're not nobodies.
Well,
They've
she's
been
from
Right.
around.
Cobra Kai, right?
Yeah, I think so. Dave Matty, who we've worked with before, is in this. Um, and yeah, like it's so like you've got kind of you have to balance out this like the time you have to make the best movie you can make with the budget you were given to do so. And sometimes you get that thing in the edit bay and you're like, oh no, we have to make this more interesting. Let's call the VFX department and see if they can't add some camera blur and split screens and muffle the sound so it's not just the same clip used over and over again for 10 minutes of the film.
Right. I mean, it it was like the 14th in this series, so I think
Hmm.
I read somewhere that they were putting it out monthly.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, definitely a lower budget thing. But when you see a movie and these interesting things happen visually or with sound design, it's in my humble opinion supposed to enhance rather
mm.
than pull you out and make you wonder why or make you question why.
Hmm.
And for me, it was too much of a like it didn't flow for me in that I was like, okay, those are really cool choices, and that helped me get into the story more or understand like emotionally where these characters were coming from. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. It is kind of one of those things. Like for me, I think I came in here not expecting too much
Hmm.
of this movie because where I've enjoyed some of those the Into the Dark stuff, it's always been kind of a specific level of quality, and I've come to appreciate that. Like I don't want it's not like Asylum level movie making, but it's close enough to still be enjoyable, but to understand like you're not going to get a big Hollywood splashy movie out of this. So I didn't have super high expectations, but yeah, I agree with you, D. It does it's disorienting and it's a little off-putting used so much and without real explanation. Like I guess you can argue that she was kind of like maybe disassociating a little, and maybe that was like
Hmm.
they were trying to explain like her
sure.
the vision's getting distorted, the she's got the underwater kind of hearing.
The flashbacks
Yeah,
to
maybe that has something to do with it, but it's it didn't really it didn't really hit the way I think it should have. But again,
right.
I enjoyed this movie. Like
I did too. All that being said,
yeah.
I did too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
my overall thoughts on it were like it was fun. Thanksgiving horror is a tough one to pull off.
Mhm.
Um, I thought the Pilgrims were really interesting. I was a little confused by how they came to be. Were they supernatural in nature?
Well,
Were they
right,
a
because
cult?
it was a combination of something that existed plus her wish from the wishbone because he
Hmm.
said, "Isn't this what you wish for?" And then he has the wishbone in his hand. So,
Yeah, but you're kind of like, well, yeah, but like, are you like there? Is the did the wishbone fairy roll through
but
Pilgrim
she,
Right.
times and
but she had already hired the actors anyway. So, like, it didn't. Yeah, there were like some loose
but
ends. Sorry.
maybe those actors were killed in an off-camera scene and
Really?
replaced by these authentic
Mm.
pilgrims.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Right.
that's what was so confusing to me because like I didn't quite understand where they came from because initially I thought, oh, they're like they've been teleported here from a
Mm-hmm.
different time. They have different belief systems. They just got done handing out smallpox blankets, and now they're going to teach these rich people a lesson
It's not funny.
on how to be grateful for what they
Right.
have. And it was just kind of one of those things where I was like, if I think I would have liked a little bit more explanation as to why and how they were there.
Right.
Because
Because
Yeah.
it felt a little off without it.
because you also have to me, I sort of thought where they were going with this was, oh, this guy had a break with reality. Like his family left him, they took him for granted, and he had a break with reality and he goes around like teaching people lessons and he's got, like you said, this little cult going on.
Yeah.
Um, because he also has, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, did the pilgrims make taffy? Like he's got a whole fucking
Yeah.
bag full
Yeah.
of taffy.
They had a bunch of New Jersey boardwalk saltwater taffy
And he's giving it
in a
to the
satchel.
kid. And then sometimes, when he's like talking to Cody, the young teenage girl, he's like, the manner in which he's speaking, and like when she corrects him and she's like, trout's a freshwater fish, idiot, oh, you
Yeah.
tripped yourself up there. Like there
Yeah.
was too much that was Not necessarily unexplained because it's okay that things are unexplained,
Sure, of
you
course.
never really know why Romero zombies happen, right?
Yeah.
You never get that answer. But if you're left with contradicting bits of information and
Yeah.
you're like requiring a footnote to understand the rest of it, that's a bit of a fail in that category for me. Again, really enjoyed it. Recommend it if you're like holiday horror. Let's go. I like horror movies. Let's watch a fun themed one because, like we said before, Thanksgiving is hard to come by. Anything other than Halloween and Christmas is coming in second, and we
Yeah.
still, don't have as many as I suppose we could, right? And Thanksgiving is a
Right.
harder one. And I like the idea. The premise is great,
Oh yeah, I think so for sure.
but
Hmm.
I don't know. There were just too many like, huh?
And you could have avoided it too. Like you can tell the wishbone part at the end was like, yeah, and then like the big reveal, like she did
Hmm.
this to her family with her wish that they made a point to explain the wishbone.
Mhm.
Which, first off, if you have ever tried to break a fresh wishbone, fresh out of a hot turkey, it's very challenging to do. You typically want to let that thing dry out for a little bit and get brittle to make it
Right.
snap because it's
Hmm.
you know it's a small bone. It's got a little bend to it. Um, but but she gets the wishbone and she gets her wish. And I don't know how a bunch of murderous cult pilgrims make Thanksgiving, what did she say? Blow up in her face, blow up in her
Yeah.
stepmom's face.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
she
that's a little
loses her
extreme.
father.
Could you
I mean, yes,
imagine like making it like like talk about like you look like the Wishmaster and the leprechauns and like
Yeah.
the wish granting
be
monsters of the
careful what you wish for.
of the
Mhm.
genre. Yeah, like like monkey shines, like things like that. Like you have can you imagine like what else? Like it's a wishbone. Like there's like how many like I don't know about you guys. Like I've made several wishbone wishes in my day. None of them have turned out that horrifically.
Yeah.
But
No.
could you imagine like what else that could have done? Like if she was like, oh, like, what if she was like, I hope she chokes on a turkey bone? Like what would have happened? Like would the turkey bone have consumed her body and turned her into a kaiju of turkey proportions? Like I don't know. Like it's a little extreme wishbone is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not only that, here you have they refer to it. The kid's like, "What did you wish for?" And then he's like, "Isn't this what you wished for?" But then there's no like, if that's what you're going for, be careful what you wish for. There's no lesson learned. She's like, "Fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever. My dad's
Yeah.
dead, but fuck you."
Right.
And I don't know. It went by. It's funny because TJ had mentioned to Glenn it goes by fast,
Yeah.
It
Super
does.
fast.
which is good. But maybe we needed a little more time because, like you were talking about the choices, like maybe they were to show Cody disassociating and whatnot. They don't give us enough for her uh,
Hmm.
to make it okay. She's got anxiety. She's got OCD because of her mother leaving. She's got this. She's got that, or whatever. She just seems like, and I know sometimes this is just a manifestation of it, but she just seems like a shitty little brat who hates her stepmother, and
Mm.
yes, she does have trauma related to her mother leaving or whatever happened, but it's not it's not explored enough.
Well, and I love too that like the
Yeah.
most we get out of that to kind of justify Cody's inherent rage towards Anna is the neighbors also think Anna's a bit much.
Yeah.
In that Shane's last wife was somehow better.
Everybody
Um,
hates Anna.
because Anna wants to like make a special Thanksgiving for everyone and do something fun.
Well,
Like
because she
I
lives on social media like not everybody else does, you know what I mean? She wants a
Right.
Pinterest-worthy social media. That's
yeah, but
basically what
like,
they're complaining about. Like, what a
it was
bitch.
2019, COVID hadn't hit yet, People had to find fun.
Oh
So
my
you hire a
gosh.
bunch of also, what do they do for like I know dad is checking the stocks all the time, but Jesu Christo, what do you do? What do they how much money do you make to bring in a troupe of
Reenactors.
Thanksgiving reenactors in
I don't think they
full
expected that
costume?
many people.
No, I think it was only supposed to be a couple, wasn't it?
I mean, I don't
Initially.
know. They
Well,
got there
also,
early.
I mean, I know they're trying to show like she's stupid and she's disconnected, she's a terrible mother, but like she lets her young son go off with this man. She lets him stay the night at their house
Yeah,
Oh, he
several
stayed in
that
his
nights. Like,
bed.
I mean, and yeah, he goes and he like, visits him before bedtime, and then he's like taking him out to go pick berries. I'm sorry. Like, listen, n-
yeah.
I I don't think that's gonna fly.
Yeah, I mean the scene. Like listen, I like the Cody and Tate relationship.
That was
Hmm.
great.
That
That
was
was a great
good.
big sister, little brother
Yeah, that was nice, and it
dynamic.
showed that Cody isn't entirely an irredeemable character because she does love her little brother.
Right.
Right.
And I get it. Like I was very fortunate. My parents did not get divorced as kids, so like I didn't have a parental figure walk out of the house one day to go get a pack of smokes and not come back. So like I can't say one-to-one relation of what Cody was going through, but Hannah didn't seem like the kind of like it felt trite, like it felt like your standard like
Mhm.
I don't like my step parent, so I'm gonna be a dick kind
Yeah.
of relationship. And
Yeah.
it really made they to me it's like having Anna be on social media, which I don't ever recall her being on social media the whole movie. That's a
They
line,
don't
that's
set
a
that up.
plot line fed by one of the neighbors,
Mhm.
Right.
which is like I I I don't know. I don't know. But let's talk about some of the fun stuff in this. We have some really great Pilgrim actors.
Mhm.
Peter Giles, Giles. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Giles.
As our lead Pilgrim, Ethan, the leader of the cult, which obviously Ethan, very common Pilgrim name.
Mhm.
Um, and I think I thought he was great. I think he played a great cult leader.
Oh yeah, it creeped
He
me the
had
fuck out.
big
Yeah,
cult
he was
leader
very good.
energy. Patience, who's been around, that
Elise
Elise
Levesque.
Levesque,
Mhm.
she's definitely been around. Poor thing, probably lost a lot of roles to Megan Fox early on, but she
SGU,
was in
but
Ready or Not, the originals. She was great in Ready or Not.
oh
Really
holy
really
fuck, she was
fantastic
in Ready
role.
or Not. I
Yeah,
didn't even
she's
realize
what's
that.
his name's wife in that.
Wife.
She's
Mhm.
fantastic in that movie.
Adam Brody. Mhm.
Like, yeah, you got some really good actors in this movie, and I thought that the Pilgrims were top notch.
Oh, they embodied
Um,
those characters very well.
Yeah,
yeah,
this it would
they
have
were
been a
much
lot
better than the
worse if they
family.
were.
Oh, could you imagine if you had a bunch of shitty pilgrims running around? Like there was some good fun, like the family murder scene on poor Big Dave Matty.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And they were like, "Did we just commit a murder as a
As a
family?"
family,
Yeah,
Like
it's a great line.
that was pretty good line.
it was good.
The writing was, like it was okay. It had a bunch of writers on it. One of them being the director Marcus Dunstan. Um, but Yeah, I don't know. What did you guys have any like standout moments for you?
I liked the drowning machine or
Mhm.
whatever you want to call that thing
Mm-hmm.
Right.
that they
That's
did
cool.
for real. That was impressive. Uh, we found out we know the AD. I would like to talk to him about shooting that scene
Yeah. Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
god.
on a low budget.
Mm-hmm.
50-foot stinger
Did
in
they
it.
They,
rent that thing?
I don't know.
You
They
know?
clearly dunked Cody in it for real with like a GoPro attached to it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
or maybe they had a underwater. Whatever. They didn't
Yeah.
fake it.
No.
I'm sure that was terrifying.
Oh God, I couldn't. No. Oh no.
I really like that scene. I also liked, again, spoiler warning at the end, dad is dead and he's the turkey at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Using your own dead husband's decapitated head as a weapon,
That was good.
Boss
That
very
move.
was
good.
good.
That's a boss
I'm
move
gonna
right
No,
remember
there.
that.
Glenn's left me with nothing. Thanks, Glenn.
Oh, sorry. That I'm
Well,
yeah,
they
those were
like
the
here. I
best
have
part.
like one gripe about that. They overcooked him. If you're gonna like listen, if
Mhm.
you're gonna serve up a human torso, rib cage, and all,
It's true.
first off, not a ton of meat there. Unless you're like me and you're rocking like a strong like B to C cup on the man boobs and a fat old belly. You don't, you're not necessarily getting a lot off. Like Kara Smith is a pretty fit guy in this movie in general. Uh, So I bet one bad choice of meat. Take a leg, take something with some fat on it, some gristle. But they burnt it. They burnt
Listen,
it. These guys are
mm-mm,
supposed to be the pinnacle of Thanksgiving feasts, and they burnt
that's true.
the human turkey. What are you even
I
doing?
I have a bone to pick with that.
A rib
Mm,
bone?
very nice.
They did not have enough time to cook him or overcook him. Like, we're talking one day, one night. Like, no.
Well, I will
Um,
say this though: he was fresh, not frozen,
True.
and they cooked him over an open fire. So
Maybe that's why he burned.
you combine the little bit of meat around the rib cage of a human being,
Okay.
and you take that, you take the fresh meat. He's already at 98 degrees when you get into him, and then you put him on an open fire. That's why he was burnt. He wasn't burnt; he was charred.
There you go.
They char grilled him like he
And
was a Burger King flame broiler.
charring has
Yeah.
been proven to be a carcinogenic risk. So
Yeah, they were going to
consume
get it eventually anyway.
Don't tell Burger
consume with
King.
care. Um,
Yeah,
do
did
love
you
me a
have
good
any
Whopper.
other than complaints? Did you have any like favorite moments?
Y'all took all the good ones. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
I
sorry.
don't think did I even say any of them? I
Fucking
don't even know if I
guys.
did
You
my
Yes,
didn't.
own.
you
I
did.
took them all.
You did.
Glenn took
I
the only
do.
2 good moments in this movie.
I do like the. I don't think it was an ice pick, but for lack of a better term, the ice pick through the hand and the head. I don't
That
know how
was
the fuck she
good.
survived that, but okay.
Same.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a little
Cult
off.
power.
Maybe that like and I don't want to like keep complaining, but there are a few nitpicky moments with the story, the script, and things like that. Like, but let's talk about the good stuff. Because
We'll shit
it was
talk more in a
fun.
second here.
But I did like that moment, with the stabbing right through the hand. That's always fun. Um, yeah.
I think like you see those like Guinness Book of World Records things where like the piece of rebar goes through a guy's face and out through his brain, and he's totally
Sure.
fine. He's walking
Sure.
around.
He
You
lives
got
with it for
to
50
leave
years.
that in there because you can't take it out. So I guess it's conceivable that she could have taken a nice pick to the head and
Yeah.
lived to tell the
Sure.
tale.
Sure.
I love the not so subtle. We sent your son to pick some berries, but don't eat those berries because those berries
Nope.
are poison. And then we get that
The ones
nice
with the green.
long held shot on just
Yeah.
not to mention the fact that all of those berries are in the same bucket
Where they mix together.
as the other
Yeah.
berries.
Why
Yeah.
did you even pick them to begin with?
Like
That's going to come in handy later.
and why did you
Right.
leave them in there? Like, but that's the thing. It's like this is going to be important for the plot
Plot
later,
point.
so pay attention, everyone.
Yeah.
These
I just-
berries. You even called it. You were like, oh yeah, that's going to come into play later.
Can I just say one thing though? That it's like, I'm like, somebody didn't want to pay for a studio teacher for too long. Go play hide and seek, Tate. We'll come find you at the end of the movie.
Hey, you got to do what you
Fair
got to do
enough.
for low
Listen,
budget. Studio teachers are
Studio teachers
expensive.
are very
Yeah,
expensive.
do Coogan accounts for their paychecks and
Mm-hmm.
studio
You can only
teachers
work
get
'em, like,
limited hours.
8 hours?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That kid was probably he looked like he was under
Younger.
12, so he might have been a 6-hour day.
6? Yeah, he was definitely under
I don't
12.
remember exactly. It's been a long time since I've worked with kids on set, and that's by design.
Right.
Kids and
Yeah.
kids and pets try to avoid like the plague.
Love kids.
But I will say this, one of my favorite parts of the movie, like I'm so there are a couple things in this life that really make me giggle and they get my goat. And one of them is farts, as you might know. But the other is gratuitous vomiting. Like the scene in Family Guy, the scene in Team America. These are vomit scenes where it is over the top vomiting.
He
There's a
does
scene
love
in Stand By Me that probably as a young child initiated this fascination
This
with,
obsession.
with barfaramas. But I really enjoyed the blood barfarama at the end of this when, of course, the berries are introduced.
Spoiler alert.
We already put it in
Ooh.
chat. They know what they're
I
coming
know.
here to do.
I like saying it.
But we we get to see a good amount, and what I like too is it's old school practical blood effects, and there's a ton of it.
There's a tube
You got
right
the tube
behind.
up along the side of the cover the mouth, get the blood fucking pumping out. Like just like profile shot, fucking blood just
It just
pouring
keeps
out of the
coming.
mouth. That really made me happy because one, I love practical effects. Two, I love blood effects. It's one of the reasons that I started making movies in the first place. There's a movie that I hope we do on here one day called The Attic Expeditions, which was the movie that got me into horror. That the director ended up becoming a very good friend of mine, Jeremy Caston, who I super want to have on the show for that. But like that, there was a scene in the behind the scenes of that movie where Jeremy's running around with a 5-gallon tub of blood and a ladle and going, more blood. I want more blood. And he's throwing blood all over the walls. And I was like, I want to fucking put blood all over walls one day. And these guys really, they spared no expense in regards to how much blood they dumped all over that place because it was
Mhm.
quite a bit of it. They
There
not.
was.
You makes me wonder: was that on a stage, or
I
did
don't
someone have
know.
to sand down all those floors and rip the carpet up?
Ooh.
There's a lot of it.
I
There's
would
a
say
lot of
There
it.
was a lot of
I
it.
would say stage.
You think?
Did you have to build a whole
The
set? I mean, I guess you could build that room.
interiors?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, there's a hallway and a dining room.
I guess you can always bring in carpet. Just buy a bunch of cheap carpet for that room and soak
Yeah.
it.
Or lay down, temporary, I mean, listen, it's gonna get in the fucking cracks and shit like that.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So
a
there's
fucking glass of
nothing.
wine will stain a carpet
I don't know, man.
through to the
That's a fine
floorboards.
question.
We have to ask
Yeah,
Otto.
you're right. With a low budget, they probably just did it at somebody's house, and that person will never, ever, ever rent their house out to a
That's why
movie
people don't
set
do it,
ever
man.
again.
I wouldn't. I like listen. We're talking about shooting a movie here in a couple weeks,
Oh,
and
God.
I can tell you right now,
Don't ever do it.
I'm writing the thing, and as I'm writing it, I'm going, oh yeah, I really want to do this kill. I'm like, but there's gonna be so much blood. Oh my god, how are we gonna? We're gonna have to cover everything with a tarp. We're gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna have to go buy carpet pieces and just put them on the ground. I don't even want to risk this.
Yep.
So I get it. Yeah, I would never allow anyone else to shoot a movie in my house. Not fucking
Oh, no.
ever.
I asked my sister, I was like, can I shoot a movie in your house? She goes, you want to shoot a movie? Debbie wants to have parties at my house. She goes, no, I don't clean to have parties and movie shoots at my house. I'm like, listen, let me shoot at your house.
Let me get blood all over your new floors.
Listen.
I worked on a TV show here recently that had a blood scene, like not excessive, but there was a fair amount. And after everyone else wrapped, I don't know what that was.
It's a Pilgrim.
Maybe.
I hope you were
Please.
grateful.
They had literally a blood crew, and they were on the call sheet as the blood crew.
What?
That were there for like 4 hours cleaning that shit because we were in a real house.
I wonder if it's like similar to like a crime scene cleanup crew.
I think so. Like they had a bunch of really heavy duty looking shit. Like I
Wow.
think one of them had like I think it like shoots like dry ice at like it's to get like stains out of wood. Like I think they use it in like
What?
fire restoration.
Wow.
Wow,
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Learned something
So
new
they
every
must be
day.
like a legit cleanup crew, and they're like
I mean, it could
somebody
have been a
got
real
smart.
crime scene crew too. I don't know.
Well, that's
It
what
was
I'm
a
saying.
crime
Like,
scene.
well, what's funny too is not funny, but I'm a member of this Facebook group that's like dark and macabre and shit like that. And people will like post crazy pictures like, oh, I had a tumor pulled out of such and such. This is what it looks like. Just all these crazy pictures. And some people who have cleaned up crime scenes have posted a few pictures. And some people get real butthurt about it. They're like, it's so disrespectful and this and that. And they're like, we got permission. Like, if you're this sensitive, why are you a member of this group?
From who?
Either
The
way.
dead?
Yeah, now I'm curious from
Oh yeah, because
well,
like, oh
I
yeah,
don't-
my wife was murdered here in this living room.
No.
Yeah, go ahead and post the crime scene photos on
Well, I mean, there's
Facebook.
no information or anything like that. Yeah, I suppose if you
Yeah, but
ever
who
fucking
gave
came across it, you'd
gave
be like,
fucking
what the
permission for
fuck?
that? Like, come
Maybe
on.
listen, I don't know. Would you just focus on the fucking story
you
and try
are
to get there?
certainly on a government list.
Oh
being
yeah,
that.
for sure.
Me?
Mhm.
Listen, it's not tips on how to clean up a crime or commit a crime, so I don't think I'm on a list.
That's
Anyway,
fair.
yet. They were talking about how like some people who have worked crime scenes before, speaking of cleaning up, they're talking about how you just don't even understand. People can come in and clean, But if you're fucking like something happens in a bathroom, like some pretty gruesome shit, and you're removing your sink years later, there will be some shit back there. Like you don't realize where shit goes. And I'm like, oh my
Wait,
god.
shit or blood? What are we talking about here?
I'm
I think
I'm saying
both.
In a
shit
bathroom?
I'm talking about blood, but I
Oh,
use you know, you don't know where
Yeah.
stuff goes.
fair
Sorry,
enough.
blood.
Fair enough.
Anyway, I
Fair
digress.
enough. Let's talk about our
Also,
director here, Mr. Marcus Dunstan.
let's talk about
Marcus Dunstan, Glenn, Illinois boy.
Ooh. Wait, does it
Um,
say what? I'm sure it doesn't. It doesn't
what
matter.
part?
Never mind.
this guy
It
looks
might.
very familiar to me. And
He
maybe
wrote.
it's because he wrote Feast.
That's why.
Oh,
Ah,
see,
Which means he was on Project Greenlight.
that's why he
yes.
looks familiar. Let me tell you this right now. We are going to do Feast on this show once, and I fucking love Feast.
Same.
Talk
One
about
of
a
my favorite
bloodbath.
horror movies of all time. Feast is a blast of a movie, and its subsequent 2 sequels were not even remotely close to as good, but super fun in their own right and awful terrible. But it looks like
I
he
haven't seen
wrote
him.
The Collector.
Did the monster? Oh, I'm not going to ask. Never mind.
We'll talk
He's
about it when
got
we watch Feast.
Unhuman. That's one that I've been wanting to watch. He The Collection. He directed,
Oh.
which apparently had 2 releases, one in 2009 and one in 2012. Maybe one was a short. I don't know.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that's that's him. Like I said, you got to wonder how much of the choices that were made came from direction and not from post. But if those were
Sure.
direction choices, a little too stylized for me for a movie like this. You know, it's not a
It's
something
for
like
me,
that.
Into
Maybe
the
after a
Dark.
bonk on the head, maybe like the blurry vision and the noise. But I don't know.
Sure.
Were you gonna say,
For,
Glenn?
for me, Into the Darks. Not that they have to be, and I appreciate them going outside of the box. Most of them are more like tongue in cheek. Like Puka, I liked, which is
Mhm.
one of their more famous ones. It's very tongue in cheek, slapsticky, not slapsticky, but
A lot of
funnier.
pratfalls.
Yeah. What was? Oh, there's another one.
We watched like a one about
Grabbers.
that we did that. Did we do that one on the show? I think we
On the
did.
show?
I think we did that one on the show.
Grabbers?
I feel like we did a St. Patrick's one on
Oh,
this
that was
show
the St. Patrick's one? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
because I
they,
remember doing it Into the Dark.
The
What was it
pub
called,
crawl
Glenn?
one.
Grabbers.
Yeah.
What is it called? Crawlers.
Grabbers. There's crawlers and oh shit.
Mm.
Crawlers.
I think
I
it
feel
was
like
Crawlers
might have
is what we watched.
been the one. Crawlers.
We watched the one that takes place in Ireland, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Crawlers. Yeah, Hulu original Crawlers, where it's like a alien invasion kind of vibe.
Yes.
Wait. Which
Into
one
the
did
Dark.
we watch?
We watched Into the Dark Crawlers.
Is that one isn't the one that's in Ireland?
It is. Well, it's on St. Patrick's Day. A night of wild parties and drunken revelry, 3 unlikely friends band together to save a college town from a vicious horde of body-switching aliens.
Okay. So there's 2 very similar movies.
Oh boy.
Crawlers and Grabbers. We watched Crawlers, which is this Into the Dark. Grabbers is the Irish version that isn't Into the Dark.
I feel like I feel like I've seen Grabbers.
Either way, I like the Irish one better, but whatever. They're tongue in cheek, like horror comedies almost.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, like, for this one, that they kind of went outside of that box and went like, this is not very funny.
No.
Intentionally. And like went against like the grain of like being a more like fun, and made like they did it more seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
And I give them credit for trying to do that, because like for the 14th one or whatever number this was in the series, you got to try something new. So I give them props for doing that. And like they didn't fail.
No.
I don't think so.
It just
this had ties to Blumhouse as well. I think Blumhouse was attached to the whole.
Blumhouse. Yeah, this was a
the whole
Blumhouse
series.
production.
I think Blumhouse produces all the Into the Darks.
Yeah, I believe
This is
so.
Blumhouse TV.
Everything. Blumhouse, everything. Boy, is that a job I'd like to have.
Yeah.
Blumhouse.
Same.
Go work.
Just
Go develop
hi.
horror for those guys.
Hi, I'd like to have a job. I'd like to Blumhouse. I'd like to do Blumhouse, please.
Yes.
I
on my
believe that's
resume,
what our buddy
Amy
Otto
Blum.
did here. Like he did these for like a year.
I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, I do remember that run and me being like, dude, you're working on these horror movies. I want to come work on them. He's like, you don't PA anymore, man.
You're like,
You're head of production at Geek and Sundry. I'm not going to bring you on a PA. I'm like, fuck.
Oh, okay. So we have seen several of these. We saw Uncanny Annie.
That's Uncanny
TJ.
Annie's the one that I remember.
This
which
was it was
fine.
right before Pilgrim, actually. And then
Yep.
we also saw, and I don't know if we necessarily saw them for the show. We saw New Year, New You. Did we see that for the show?
I don't think
this show?
so.
I don't think so. Looking through these real quick, look through our catalog of films we've seen, but New Year, New You is interesting. I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember liking that one.
Are they all tied to a holiday or just the second season?
No, I think they all are, or they try to be. I think they're all
here
tried
we
to
go. It's listed.
tangentially tied to the month they come out in.
Or something like one is like Blood Moon is spring full moon.
Right.
The current occupant is Independence Day, that kind of thing. Christmas,
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, Halloween, Daughter's Day.
Didn't know that was a thing.
Reaching.
Me either.
Also
International
known as Reaching
Women's
Day.
Day. Okay, very interesting.
Yeah, but fun, like a fun thing. Like there
It
was,
was fun.
I don't know if you guys remember a while back, there was a thing, I think it was called, Glenn, you might remember this a little more, the After Dark Film Festival.
Yes.
That spawned a franchise, a movie like Skinwalkers was in there.
Yes.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I went to the first run of it where like they had, I don't remember however many, you could buy a ticket and you'd watch like 6 movies in a day or something. I went and did that.
Is
I
that
was
still
very
going on?
close to where like
No.
I was talking to those guys about going to work for After Dark as like an office assistant, and then the whole thing fell apart. The whole like company ate shit, and I was like, man, I've been so close to working on horror. Like I was gonna go work for Corman for a hot minute. Like I was supposed to get a Corman introduction, and then that fell apart.
Damn.
I've been so close to horror royalty, and I could never.
Wait, After Dark did
get in
like
there.
Grave Dancers, right?
Yeah, Grave Dancers was
Oh
one.
yeah, I
That was like one of the
forgot about
original.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I
I
think it
enjoyed
was
Grave
Skinwalkers
Dancers.
was another one they did.
Yeah.
Because I remember getting like the one sheet for that movie was dope. And I remember getting one from those conversations. They were like, "Do you want anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll take a Skinwalkers one sheet." And they were like, "Okay."
Yeah.
God, Rent Track was an awesome job. I got so many posters from that job. But anyway,
We
yeah,
should
like
hang
I love when these kind of feature level anthologies come around, because it's not like there's any connective tissue between them, but I do like to see something like this come to be, because one, it puts a lot of movies into production and gives a lot of people work, which is great, and two, you get to see some fresh faces and some fresh opportunities come out of this, which I really like.
100%.
Big fan.
We need more. We need more of these, because it also gets more like less recycled ideas out there, more unique ideas. I mean, just think about Masters of Horror. I mean, we've been rewatching that here and there. Fucking when that show came out, we were like, oh my God, yes, wow, amazing. I mean, not that I'm old enough to remember when it came out. Just kidding. It was
12?
like it spoke. It really spoke.
That old.
I know. That's why I said I was just kidding. It really spoke to our like love of horror, our horror hearts, and then it brought like all the legends back out, like directing, an hour of this anthology series that didn't have to be tied together. And then I was also, every time I watch it, I'm like, this inspired so many fucking television show opening credits.
Oh yeah.
Like, this was it. This was, I want to say this was like the beginning of that really cool, very creepy kind of disjointed credit sequence.
Well, I remember when we were at GNS, I remember when we started putting together the credits for like Madness, I cited Master of Horror. I was like, I want this. This is what I want. We ended up doing that for, I think, We're Alive Frontier and for
Mhm.
Um, and that was Master of Horror. Those opening credits were awesome, man. They were so good. But I love anthology horror though. It's like my favorite, and you can have it in so many different flavors. You can have your anthology horror movie like a Creep Show or a Body Bags, and you can have anthology horror like Masters of Horror, or even like Friday the 13th or
Series.
the Freddy's Nightmares.
Give
You
me
know,
more
stuff
series.
like that. It's like super fun.
They're
Yeah, I want some.
streaming.
Wait, I'm sorry. What?
I'm
Freddy's
pretty sure
Nightmares
Freddy's
is
Nightmares is
streaming?
streaming. I'm
Oh
pretty
my
sure.
god. Oh god. Well,
I'm
if
gonna
it
look it up.
is, that'll be the next week of my life. We'll be watching those back because I can't
Yeah,
find.
they're on
I want
Plex.
those on Blu-ray so bad.
Oh my. Available on Plex?
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Yep, doing that. But let's get back to the task at hand,
Yes.
and that is
Pilgrim.
2019 Pilgrim Into the Dark, part of the Into the Dark franchise. Any standout other than Ethan and Patience? Any standout performances? Anything that really jumped off the screen for you guys that you want to talk about? Because we've talked about a good amount of the negative and a
Mhm.
little bit of the positive and shit that has nothing to do with this movie,
Yeah.
which is very telling
Yeah.
for this film.
I mean, honestly, and I was going to say this earlier, I think everybody did a great job. I think the acting was great. You
They
know,
did.
I think Rain Edwards was great. Like, you don't love her character, right? Because she's a bratty teenager, I'm guessing.
Hmm.
Um, but but there are certain things where you're like, okay, you get that love for her brother. You get that cute, you know, little relationship that they have with the knock and knock knock, hide and seek kind of thing.
Yeah, that was
Um,
cute.
that was cute. That was sweet. Again, you're like, oh yeah, that's gonna, play into it later when Tate goes to hide. But overall, I mean, I think I don't know what else Rain Edwards has done, but she was great. She's a
Hellfest.
beautiful
She was in
young lady.
Hellfest before this.
Hellfest. Which one was that?
Hellfest is the haunted house horror movie with the
Oh
guy with the mask and
yeah.
R.I.P. I
Oh, we'll
believe
have
Tony
to
Todd was
rewatch
in that.
that.
Yep, Tony
But
Todd, R.I.P. Tony Todd. This episode dedicated
oh,
to Tony Todd.
Tony Todd.
What a loss.
Thank
Absolutely
you so
heartbreaking.
much for all of your art, sir, because like so many so many things I think that he was in shaped several generations youth.
Yeah.
Like, ugh, I just,
One of the things I did see, not listen, and I'm not making light of Tony Todd's death. That was heartbreaking. But I did see people doing this really cool thing of like tonight we say his name 5 times. But then I saw other people saying 3 times, and I was like, it's the wrong ghost. You're thinking of Bloody Mary. That's 3 times in the mirror. Candyman 5 times.
you know,
But 5 excessive, maybe. I don't know. But powerful guy. He
excessive maybe.
takes
Yeah.
a little more to get him out of bed.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to question Clive Barker and how to write horror ever.
No,
So
certainly not. Certainly not. But yeah, Rain Edwards, other than having an awesome name, very good in this movie.
she was
What a
also
great
in
name.
Snowfall, it looks like, for like a lot of its run. So
I don't remember Snowfall.
it's a TV show on FX.
Oh, okay.
I think it's about drug dealers in LA.
Oh, Snowfall. Gotcha.
Snowfall. Yeah.
Wait, is Courtney Hengler? Is that? Do we know her husband? I feel like we do.
Who?
Is that Ross's
Which one?
wife? I don't know. None of this matters.
I don't.
We're diverting.
You digress.
Yeah, you work in town for so long, and you're like,
do I
oh
know
wait,
you?
do I know these people?
I think everybody did great.
They did. That's
Yeah.
this could have been, again, like that could have been something that would have made this really hard to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even if like one of the main characters wouldn't have been very good, but they all
Yeah.
were either at minimum competent or like pretty good to like pretty great. Like I
Mhm.
thought Peter Gillis, whatever, did an amazing job. Like he truly creeped me out for most of the show.
He
Oh,
had
yeah.
strong old man vibes from Poltergeist 2. or
Mm.
you know, he had like not obviously not as creepy, but that level
Right.
of intensity of like you know, like he
Yeah.
can turn on a switch pretty easily.
Mhm.
You know, he did an episode of Modern Family. He was in Portlandia for a couple
Oh,
episodes, but
okay.
otherwise, you know, not a, you know,
Not seeing him as much as we should because he did great.
He
yeah,
did.
he was super talented. Super talented cat. Would love to see that guy in more stuff because he's really good.
Mhm.
I think one of my favorite parts, not one, I don't call it one of the parts I really liked was when mom was bashing in Patience's head with dad's head,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and Tate's in the corner and he gives her the thumbs up. And he's like, "Yeah,
So
Yeah.
use
funny.
dad's
That was
head to
good.
bash in that
Yeah.
pilgrim's noggin,
Good
mom.
job, Mom.
You're doing it. And then he throws
That
up,
was funny.
which I love. Again, you get all this
Mhm.
blood vomit, then you get proper vomit.
A real
It's the
vomit,
right
yeah.
move. It was the right call. Good direction there. Give the people
Excellent
what they
work.
want, and that's real vomit.
I
More
mean, if you
vomit.
wrote Feast, like, making a mess makes sense.
Oh
Oh my
yeah.
god. Well, I mean, do you remember, like, because we watched the series, right? We watched the Project Greenlight, and we
Oh,
watched
I
behind the
love
scenes,
Project Greenlight. I watched
and
all those.
Honey, oh, that actress was not happy. She got it in her eyeballs, like that anyway, we
Yeah.
digress. We'll talk about it when we watch Feast.
Yeah, that's high on my list as Feast. Just mostly because I've been waiting to watch that movie again because I want it to be fresh for the
Yeah,
show.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
So
Yeah,
good,
it's been
so
a while.
fucking good. But
But overall, it's I think it's if you're into holiday horror, it's
yeah,
it should be on your list.
I think
If
so.
you've
I don't
got
think there's
shitty family who's terrible to be around at Thanksgiving, put it on. Make them watch it. Tell them
yeah.
to fuck off.
See what they do a double feature with Thanksgiving and really weird them out.
There
Oh
you
my
go.
god. Gobble
Don't
gobble,
subject them to
motherfucker.
Thanksgiving 3 because I don't think I would ever subject anyone to Thanksgiving 3.
Even those you don't like.
Even those I don't like. I mean, I'll watch it alone because I like it, but I don't think I'd ever make anyone else watch it.
Fair
It's
enough.
too far off into fucking left field even for me sometimes. But
Fair
yeah, this
enough.
is definitely a fun Thanksgiving horror movie.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
And even
let's go ahead, D.
well, I was just gonna say, even though the first 50 minutes are slower, like we said, it goes by pretty quickly,
It doesn't feel like
it
it's
flows.
No. Well, because like you said, when it ratchets up, it's just like it's
Mhm.
slow out of the gate, but when it gets going, you know, it's like fucking, you know, Bowser or DK in Mario Kart. They're heavy and they slow to start, but when they get moving, they're strong and they're good. And that's I think what this did.
Mhm.
You know, which
it's
was
slow, but it's intriguing, mainly because of Ethan. And you're like, what the fuck is going on with this dude?
yeah,
Mhm.
I could have seen another 30 minutes of Pilgrim development.
Mm-hmm.
Because you really could have like this was a buck 20 on the dot,
Mhm.
and that was probably a restriction that Hulu
I'm
put on
sure.
them
Oh,
for
for
this.
sure.
But you could have made this 2 hours and spread this thing out over the town and like
Yeah.
not just had them go because you know you got to remember Patience takes out the neighbors, Cody's boyfriend Finn and his mom who's trying to quit smoking and
They're not even
maybe
neighbors,
might also be the town
which is
drunk. We
weird.
don't know.
I don't
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I'm not
Um,
gonna get into that right now.
yeah, but
Yeah.
but you could have brought more people into the fold and really
Mhm.
gotten to know the characters, which I mentioned 2001 Maniacs at the top of this episode because, like I said, to me it had that vibe, but that vibe is that kind of reenactment culture, which Denise and I have been a part of for years and with the Renaissance festivals. Um, but that culture is a very specific thing. Like there are some people who do it for fun, and there's some people who take the history very seriously, especially in regards to the costuming and the language. And I think that you could have really sunk your teeth into a troupe, which we ultimately end up seeing anyway,
Mhm.
taking a whole town,
Sure.
and having a town wide feast with all of the people and really expanding this out from one single family and a neighbor because you needed a body count
Right.
uh to make this, you know, anything. But I think you really if you'd given them another few minutes of money and time on this, I think Ethan would have really gotten that kind of David Koresh level like treatment that he deserved. And it would have been really cool to see, you know, all the pilgrims in the middle of the fucking street with a bunch of fucking bodies on poles and yards, and like really blow up the scope of this would have been really cool. Just to get to know more of the pilgrims, because I feel like you got to see, like, all of a sudden there's dudes smoking pipes.
Yeah.
Oh God, I got to touch on this before we go. So there's a scene where they're all smoking pipes. And Shane's pipe is upside down. Like, I don't smoke a pipe. I smoke weed and I use glass pipes, but I don't smoke like a tobacco pipe. I'm not a tobacco guy.
Just cracking weed.
Some friends of mine got me a tobacco pipe for my D&D character for my birthday one year, Party Ron. And it disassembles to clean it. And the piece that goes in your mouth, the little plastic doodad that attaches to the rest of the pipe where the smoke comes from, you know, it can be twisted. It twists off. And it kind of has this little like arch. It goes whoop and goes in your mouth. It was upside down. So it went like, instead of going this way, it went this way. And it bugged the shit out of me. I saw it and I immediately went, motherfucker. Like,
how dare you?
I don't even smoke pipes and I'm infuriated by this.
I'm surprised I didn't catch that. My dad smokes pipes, and
yeah, go back and check it out. You see the little lip that's supposed to go down bends up, and I'm the whole
probably
time
taking
I was
a
just
note
like,
when they did that shot.
bitch. Yeah. But yeah, that was my real only gripe with this film. That was the thing that upset me the most, was the pipe scene. But yeah, you had like the 3 pipe guys, and you had, you know, the older pilgrim lady, and you had
and
Big
just
Dave
more and
Matty,
more showing up. Yeah.
you know, who
I'm the builder. I liked that guy.
yeah, that's Dave Matty, like good dude, sweetheart of a guy, like gentle giant kind of dude. But the yeah, like what a cool character that would have been, and that you get that in 2001 Maniacs. You know, that's got Robert Englund in it. Our friend Wendy's in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But you had these really unique characters
Lin
who were out of Lin Shaye, who were out of time, getting to really showcase their characters, like, be it special ability or, you know, method of killing.
Special.
And I think this could have had that.
Killability?
Yeah, Killbility. Yeah, Killbility was the original name for Kill Bill's Killbilities. That was when it was going to be an anthology kung fu series. But yeah, I think that's really my only real gripe. The pipes, and had we had more time with the Pilgrims, I think we would have really gotten to see something special out of this. But time and money are a real thing, and
true.
You know, so it
and
goes.
Time is money.
That it is. CPM, baby. Final thoughts before we start to wrap things out here and talk about the rest of the holidays of horror?
So I contradicted myself a little bit. I was like, it flows, you know, it goes by quickly. And then one of my issues was that the story pieces didn't quite flow together. So I stand by what I said. But I want to I wanted to clarify that it does go by quickly, and you're able to, you know, to watch it and not be too hung up on those things. But the fact that I did have so many of those questions, and like, you know, like, guys, you know, I literally made a joke to about an HOA right as they were talking about the HOA party. And then later I'm like, with that HOA, I'm sorry, there would not have been an unapproved structure going up without permits. Like,
No.
I'm like, what? No neighbors found like anything odd, like this structure, screaming, yelling, things like that. Like, I was just like bugged by a lot of those things. But in spite of that, I was still able to enjoy it. It did still feel like a quick watch and a fun watch. So, you know, even though I do have several bones to pick,
several wishbones to pick.
Ooh, several wishbones to break. I do think that it was fun, and you know, it's a holiday watch.
Glenn, what about you? Final thoughts?
Yeah. Even though we did say it is slow for 50 minutes, it doesn't feel like 50 minutes because at least in my opinion, Ethan's character does a good job of you're just being like, what the fuck is going on with this?
Yeah, captivating.
And then once it ramps up, it's a good time. Yeah, again, it's fun. I like that they took a swing and like got out of the mold of like the rest of the Into the Darks, or the ones that I've seen, at least I should say. And yeah, if you have family at Thanksgiving that are hard to deal with, put this on and make it worse.
Make it awkward.
Make it far
Or
worse.
make them watch it and whatever.
Yeah, and fuck it. You know,
Yeah.
if you're gonna disassociate at Thanksgiving, and the room's gonna get all and the sound's gonna muffle like it does in Pilgrim, at least throw on Pilgrim, so that when you come out of that episode, you can look around the room at the shocked faces and maybe the vomit on the floor, and maybe Grandma is passed out in her chair from the gratuitous violence, and have a little laugh to yourself, because it is Thanksgiving after all, and why
That's
not
true.
you? But that's it. That's the show. Before we go, I want to talk about what's to come this Holidays of Horror season. And I have a little thing here I'll put up if I can remember. Maybe? No, I don't know what it is. But yeah, we've got some really great picks that the three of us pulled together that I'm really excited about. You can see those over on the Instagram. It's there. There, I see now. It's there. It's a thing. Hold on, I'm stalling. I'm vamping.
Vamp it up, baby.
There we go. It's there in chat. But anyway, yeah, next week we've got Black Friday, which Devin Sawa, Bruce Campbell, another classic
legends.
American holiday, Black Friday.
Classic American holiday.
And then to round out the Thanksgiving season, we have Eli Roth's Thanksgiving, which came out, I think, last year, maybe.
Last year?
It did.
But that's going to be a higher budget. I think Patrick Dempsey's in that. That's a little higher budget. They're talking about a sequel. Yeah, they're talking about a sequel for that, is getting ready to move into production. And then we move into the December holidays with Werewolf Santa kicking off the Christmas season on December 4th, Sleigh Bells on December 11th, Christmas Bloody Christmas, which I'm really excited about. I wanted to watch that one last year. We didn't get to it, on December 18th. And then finally, for to kick off what we'll call season 2, first off, Christmas Bloody Christmas will be the 50th episode of this show.
Ooh.
Very exciting. So to kick off season 2, we're going to do it just like we did season 1. And we're going to do Silent Night, Deadly Night, 1 through 5. It's going to be a mega episode to kick
Why are we
off
doing
season 2. The first 5, I think potentially all 5 Silent Night, Deadly Night movies, just like we did with Leprechaun.
We technically just watched 6, right?
Did we watch
Had nothing to do with it, right? Isn't that what Black Cat was called?
No, you're thinking you're way off. That's
No.
Demons. That's Italian
Demons.
horror. That's not even
Demons 6.
Silent
Okay.
Night, Deadly
I
Night,
don't know
Killer
why I
Santa
thought
Claus,
those-
Denise. This is a
I
There
don't know
was
why.
no
No, I know
Christmas in
what
that.
Silent Night,
entirely
Deadly
different
Night is,
genre.
but I listen, to be fair, the Black Cat doesn't have anything to do with demons either, right? So,
Well, I mean, unless other than the Demon 6 being the name of its in
well,
certain
yeah,
Right.
regions.
it's
And then, of course,
literally just the name. Whatever.
on New Year's Day, Silent Night, Deadly Night will be on Christmas Day, and on New Year's Day we'll have Bloody New Year, which I'm excited to do because the cover art for that is awesome, and it grabbed my attention as a child, and I'm excited to finally watch it and talk about it. So that's
a
it. That's this year's Holidays of Horror. Make sure you stay tuned to the socials. Head over to bloodandpopcorn.com to check that out and see what we got cooking over there. We got a new blog up from Denise on that side of things. And as always, these episodes will be going up, if they're not already up, on youtube.com/@wearechannel29. That's it, everybody. That's the show. Glenn, Denise, so excited to have another Holidays of Horror with you both this lovely season of ours before we head into the great unknown of 2025. So make sure everyone stays tuned. Stays tuned? Stay tuned?
Stays tuned.
Yeah, I guess if you're talking in general, you would all stay tuned, but if you're staying tuned or stays tuned, either
English
way,
is weird.
just watch the fucking show.
It really is.
And make sure you come on back now and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys soon for more Channel 29. We'll see you soon for more Blood and Popcorn. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep that scream alive. Good night.